Welcome to the All About Us podcast, the podcast where we deep dive into the stories behind purpose-driven people shaping the world through passion, creativity, and heart. I'm your host, Carl Allen, and today I'm honored to speak with someone who is truly transforming how we see the world, literally. Joining me is Josie Ann Fulbear, the founder and CEO of Picha Stok, a groundbreaking Afrocentric image library challenging visual stereotypes since 2015. She's also the vice president of the Digital Media Licensing Association and the creator of Weaving Stories, a photography book exploring the beauty and complexity of African lives. We're going to explore her incredible journey from economics to visual storytelling, her leadership in media advocacy, and her vision for the future of authentic representation. How are you doing today, Josiane?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. This is so much.
Oh, I'm glad to have you here. So tell me a little bit about your background because it seems like you have this rich cultural history that I really don't get to bathe in too much. You're from a foreign country. Which foreign country are you from?
I'm from Gabon. Gabon is in West Central Africa.
Okay.
Oh no, Nigeria and Cameroon. So we are two countries down Nigeria.
Okay, so you're south of Nigeria then,
Yes,
closer to the equator.
on the equator.
On the equator. And if I'm not mistaken, I think what I've heard of Gabon is they're real big about tropical rainforests. Isn't there a tropical rainforest there?
Yes, tropical rainforest, but we're really known for the wildlife. We have like amazing wildlife. I think 80% of the country is still under tropical rainforest, very protected. That's what usually people know about Gabon.
Great. Yes, amazing, amazing, amazing. And so, what was your journey like? How did you travel from Gabon to where you're at now?
I currently live in Seattle in Washington State, so which is really far from Gabon,
Correct.
but it did not happen at once. It was very, it happened step by step. So first I moved with my family when I was a teenager. There was a lot of political instability in Gabon in the 90s. So we moved to France, stayed there, lived there, studied there, and then I moved to the United States. That was in 1999. I was able to find an internship with a French company. So I moved to New York for a year. And then I decided to stay. After New York, I moved to California. And that's where I transferred to study economics.
Okay. Can you take us back to your early years? What drew you to study economics, and how did that eventually lead you to the world of visual storytelling?
It's, life is just full of mystery. And the good thing is, even if you don't know what you want to do of your life, there's always a path for you. And anything that you will learn along the line or on your journey will be beneficial anyway, will benefit whatever you're trying to build. So when I studied economics, I wanted to work in international development. I
Okay.
wanted to, bring my expertise to the world and help the world be a better place. And then and so I did that. I worked for a little bit in Washington, D.C. I was working for an amazing organization. It doesn't exist anymore, but it used to be called Academy for Educational Development.
Mm.
And I worked on a project that was promoting exclusive breastfeeding around the world, which was nice. I was in health, but doing monitoring and evaluation of the project. So I did that. It was really nice. We could see, especially being on the monitoring and evaluation side of it, I was really able to see how when you have a really nice project and you can found it, it can really help people. So that was really great to see. Then I moved to London in the UK. And then London is not really a city for NGOs, so there's not a lot of them there. So
Right.
I'm working for a marketing agency, and I was also starting my family, and I was trying to figure out how can I continue to do what I like and raise a family at the same time without having to be too stressful about, the commitment and all of that. So I decided to take on photography, took a few classes, and I worked as a freelancer, as a freelance photographer for a few years. And we moved back to Washington, D.C. To Washington, D.C., I had I was looking I was trying to remain in the creative field.
Okay.
Uh, Again, Washington, D.C. is not the best place to be in this field, but regardless, when I Googled a photographer near me, I was so shocked. Like, I felt like
Mhm.
everywhere there was a photographer. And I started to be like, okay, maybe that's not going to be the right thing to do. Maybe you should just figure out another path. And at the same time, some of my friends starting to get in touch and ask me for some images. And it was specifically a friend from Gabon, and he said, "Hey, Josiane, um, I'm building a website for someone and I need some images." I'm like, "What image? Like, just go online. There are platforms for that." And it's like, "No, I just need images of us, like people like us." And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Interesting.
And I say, "Just go. There are companies called Star Photo Platform, and that's what they do. So you should be able to find." It's like, "No, you won't believe it. There's nothing. There's like
Mhm.
sorry NGOs type of images, poverty related. So please help me."
Right.
So I looked it up. I went online and yes, realized that he was right. And that was 10 years ago because
Mhm.
Picha is now 10 years old.
Mhm.
That was 10 years ago. There was no image of normal people, normal Black people just doing normal stuff, going to or
Wow.
sitting at a
Okay.
table with the family, stuff like that. So at some point, I was like, there's an opportunity here to fix the problem because I'm in photography. But at the same time, I didn't want to take it on. I was like, oh, this is going to be a lot of work. I prefer to go back to corporation, it's secure, it's safe. You have your 9 to 5, you go home, you just do the minimum and then that's it.
Correct. Correct.
But then I thought about it. I thought about it for a long time. So and then I actually found a job. I was actually working.
Mhm.
I would go to work and still think about it. Then I realized that, wait, if there's a problem and I see that there's a problem, then I should try to do everything to fix it.
Mhm.
Why should I wait and say, oh, that's going to be too much work? Maybe someone else is going to do it. Then I was like, I don't think it's the smart way of thinking about it. Like, especially that I'm already in the field of photography.
Mhm.
And that's how I just decided to start it. So I started it with some of my images.
Mhm.
And then because it was the beginning also of Instagram,
Mhm.
so Instagram really helped me because I was able to reach out directly to some photographers, pitch them the idea of Pisha. And yeah, that's how it started.
Okay, what year did Picha started?
It was 20, wait, yeah, we were at 2020, 2016.
2016. And when you started that first month, about how many images do you think you had at that time?
We still don't have millions of images. Like when you
I
compare
said
to the
how many. I said how many. How many images do you think you had? Do you think
probably 100,
100? Okay.
200,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay. Okay.
But
So go ahead.
yeah, so not a lot
Okay.
because I had some content and I realized that if you want to license images, you can't just like there's a process. And
Yes.
so today, for example, I'm also part of this organization called the MLA. It's the Digital Media Licensing Trade Organization for all the agency who license images. And I
Mhm.
learned through them. So right when I started, I was like, okay, I need to be part of something that understands the industry
Mhm.
so that I don't fail. So I became a part of the MLA. And through the MLA, I understood that in order for us to license image, so for someone, if you wanted to buy an image, there are a few criteria that you need to follow, and
Mhm.
especially the one regarding model release. So I had a lot of images that did not have release forms because I
Okay.
was just taking photos.
Photos, right?
Yes. And I was taking photos with no purpose.
Right.
So I did not have the release form. So therefore, I could not license them.
Mm.
So that's why I'm like, even though I had some photo, I could not use them because of the release form aspect of it. So the release form in the licensing world is really, really important because it means that if you take a photo of me, I read and sign that agreement. That means that I allow you, the photographer, to be compensated for that image.
Image, correct.
And that's it.
Correct. So in 2016, when you formed your company, it seems as if you branched out and you utilized some other photographers. So, say in the first year of your formation, how many other photographers were you working with to build your imagery catalog?
We would probably just have like probably 7 to 10
Okay.
photographers at a time.
Okay.
And because, so again, we learned a lot. We left the contributor side of the website open.
Mhm.
And very quickly, I realized that people needed to be educated also. The same way, I get my education, especially through the MLA. I
Mhm.
had to educate the photographers because so the first set of images that I received on the website from someone who had created a contributor's account and decided that, oh, I'm going to upload my images so that Pisha can license it for me.
Mhm.
They were sexual photos. It was
Oh wow.
someone who had taken his girlfriend naked and he uploaded the photo. And I was like, oh my God, see, this is
You go
really not what
crazy.
I expected.
Exactly.
And I also was like, I don't want to go through that type of curation. So
Right.
I talked to the developer. I say, we need to stop it. Like, I don't want anybody to create an account. So we'll have to do it differently. So
Okay.
we went through many, many ways of working with photographers. With some, we'll have an interaction, we'll talk, I could see their work. So they were fine to upload. And some they had to send us an email with their portfolio so that we could review and assess that they were the right type of photographer.
Proposals, yeah, yeah. So at that time, that was when you determined you seen this gap of where there wasn't really a whole lot of African imagery, positive imagery of us in our various different cultures and normal everyday life. Has that changed over time, or is there still this huge gap present in that?
It has changed because I mean, thank God to social media and
Mhm.
people have been very vocal about it. There was even a hashtag at some point about the Africa you don't see, the Africa they don't show you,
Mhm.
where people took up upon them to show beautiful images of Africa because initially they will always talk about Africa under the light of poverty, violence, crime, and all of that. So I feel like social media really helped on that. And even in the US, people will complain and say, hey, we don't see ourselves. What about us? We're also consumers. So it was a good thing for us. And then it was a great thing because I could see other platforms also would try to fix that issue. So a bunch of other platform also were providing images. There were options again, but at the end of the day, even if there are options, you still have to educate the final decision maker. Is the final decision maker aware that his campaign needs to be inclusive? That was that's another problem to address. So it's changing. People are becoming more and more aware of the benefit of inclusivity in their business, which is great. So they have options now. They have places to go.
Okay. In your view, how has mainstream media traditionally misrepresented African communities? Well, you just talked about it. They always want to display us in impoverished situations, crime. For Gabon, what do you feel was the largest misrepresentation of your country to the outside world?
Yeah. So there's always misrepresentation in the story that is chosen by the media.
Hmm.
So the stories, they are beautiful stories of. So when the media talks about Black communities in general, I mean, if they think the story is positive, it will be a story on resilience. And I'm like, oh my God, wow. So again, it's the suffering, also a reference to the suffering, because
Correct.
we are resilient, it's because there's a suffering in the back.
Right.
But they don't take time, they don't spend enough time trying to talk to the people who are really, really creative in any way. When you think of Kenya and M-Pesa, for example, they invented the mobile payment.
Okay.
Here, for example, today we use Cash App, we use Venmo. They have been using it for many years. I want to say like
Mhm.
15, 20 years.
Okay.
So there's a lot of invention happening on the continent, even in Black communities, in the diaspora, in the African American communities. But
Hmm.
people don't choose to talk about those invention, creativity, beautiful stuff that's happening. Even when you think of community, how we are so good at bringing, supporting the community without asking anything in return. These are like spirits, human elements that needs to be highlighted a lot more, especially in these, testing times. And these are beautiful stories because they are stories of just human being, just trying to be. And then I'm right. And then coming back to Gabon, the problem with Gabon is that they only see Gabon as a wildlife space,
Okay.
with lush forests, beautiful animals. They also see it as a rich oil country producer. They don't see the people. They don't talk about the people enough.
Okay. Okay. So during this process here, these 10 years, have you actually gone back to Gabon yourself and taken photos yourself?
I do. I
Okay.
was there last year. I go back
Okay.
to Africa all the time. The When I started Pisha, I wanted to understand also the market, the local market in
Mhm.
Africa, especially on the creative side. and then on the ad agency side. So I went to Ghana, tried to meet with some creatives there, tried to meet with some ad agencies, marketing agencies. And then every year I just go back to meet with some of my team and then organizing events there as well. So I'm always there, always in Africa.
Okay, how does your company position itself to challenge the stereotypes through visual content?
We position ourselves in the highlighting the human behind it. It is very important that if you're going to use an image of, let's say I'm going to New Orleans and I want to do something, I think it would be great that I hire someone from New Orleans to create that content. So it's the idea of, we have technology today. There are human beings, they are looking for opportunity. So there's no excuse. We can hire, there's like technology, we can pay through all of these tech platforms that allow for payment to be sent here and there. And the people can receive a brief, create the content, be paid, and they don't have to leave their country. They don't have to leave their city. They can continue to contribute and live with the people that they love in the place that they love. That's pretty much the ideal, is to allow the creative in all the Afrocentric communities to be able to be part of the digital economy. So using the human as the creativity behind all these images first.
So this is a platform for photographers to work in their own community, take pictures, take photographic stories of life in their communities, and then place it up on your platform and have an opportunity to get paid for their work in their own community as long as they have the proper licensing.
Exactly.
That's
That's
great.
exactly it.
That's great. That's a great opportunity.
We do 50-50.
Okay.
A lot of the big platforms will do 20% to the creative. We do 50-50.
D50.
We try
Do
to
you,
find, yep, we try
do
to
you
find
hear
the
that,
buyer.
audience? Some of you out here are photographers. Do you hear that? This woman, her platform gives you 50% of what you culturally create via pictures in your community. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Like it's amazing because I feel like it's because of my journey probably, but because I'm also a creative. So when I build a business, it's really important that we remain true to the creative and they can continue to create, because I mean, if you want them to continue to create, they need to continue to upgrade their equipment. They need to live, they need to get something out of it that will, provide some form of stimulation and motivation.
Okay. Can you share a story or an example where an authentic image from Picha helped transform how a brand or organization connected with its audience?
Yeah, that's a great question. We used to do, so funny enough, we and that happened in Africa. It was a company based in West Africa. It's a dairy company, and we started. I'm going to tell you the whole story because
Okay.
we started with a challenge, a breakfast challenge. They wanted to see what people would come up with on the breakfast challenge. Um, with the hope that they will include some dairy and maybe they can license some of these images for their company. And when we did the challenge, it was so weird to realize that
No dairy?
it's not even the no dairy part. It's the what we think is worth it. So many photographers didn't think that their local breakfast was important. So they
Wow.
tried to recreate a Western type of breakfast. So
Okay.
they brought on cereals, they brought on croissant, baguettes, and we were so shocked. And we were like, oh my God, this is like the brainwash of colonialism, like coming back. The creative not even believing that there's value in their own experience.
That's correct.
So it was really shocking to see that.
Okay.
We had to go through a few discussion with some of the creatives saying that, wait, but nobody's going to come to our platform to get burgers and fries and croissant. I mean, it's been done. It's been
Right.
done in such great ways that I don't even want to spend time on it, honestly. So they will come to us for something that's authentic, something that they don't see in on other platforms. And what's authentic is what you do every day.
Mhm.
And they will be like, yeah, but my home is not nice. I need to rent a space to shoot. And I'm
Mhm.
like, who tells you that your home is not nice?
Mhm.
Your home is your home. Just remove your clutter because, for photography, we do like
Right.
clutter, but your home
Right.
is your home. And,
Right.
try to view it and make it beautiful.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of education also that we do through
Yeah, yeah, I guess you had to convey, no, we want to see what you eat every day.
this.
Yeah, so that's funny. Let's talk about weaving stories. What was the inspiration behind that book? And what were you hoping to communicate through the work of the 10 photographers you collaborated while creating that book?
Yeah, weaving stories are it here.
Okay.
Weaving stories started because we started a grant program. So the grant program was a way to allow the photographers to not be dictated by any brief.
Hmm.
So again, coming to the realization that the photographers sometimes they're so desperate to license and sell their images that they will start to only shoot what they think is going to sell. So they will forget about whatever speaks to them, whatever is really important for them and their creativity, because they just want to sell something. So it was to really allow them, give an opportunity to the photographers to just, okay, now you have a little bit of money. There's no restriction. What would you like to shoot? Like, what's a story that's really important for you and that you really want to create? So it started with the grant program 5 years ago.
Hmm.
And then when we starting to see the images, the stories that they will put together, we were like, yeah, but we can't really put them only in a stock photo platform because if you go to a stock photo platform, you come with a purpose. So you're like,
Right.
okay, I'm looking for a pineapple. You only want to see pineapples.
That was right.
Bananas.
Correct.
Or if you watermelon, you only want to see pineapple. So you don't see any other things that are actually also beautiful. So we're
Right.
like, okay, they're going to be buried because they need to. It's like it's a beautiful story. So we can't just them put them on the picture stock as a single photo that people will find. So we are like, okay, the best way to keep those stories alive is to put them in the book. So we publish Living Stories this year in February.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have
It's new.
10 photographers in the book,
Okay.
diverse stories, beautiful, diverse stories.
Okay, okay. So we'll talk about where we can get that book, where they can order it a little later in the show.
Mhm. Yep.
You're now the vice president of DMLA.
Mhm.
What does DMLA stand for? And what does that position mean to you personally and professionally, especially as a woman of color in digital media?
That's a great question. So when I joined DMLA, I was telling you earlier, DMLA is the trade organization for all the companies that license photos. So you find in DMLA, all the members are Picha Stok, there is Hawk Stock, Stock C. You see, you get Getty, Shutterstock, Adobe Stock, all of the people who license images, they tend to be part of DMLA.
So does that stand for Digital Media Licensing Agency?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's exactly it. And it's a very important agency because DMLA advocates for copyright.
Hmm.
So all of these the member organizations, they also advocate on behalf of the contributors for copyright. Copyright is important. And also for us, we don't want people to come and steal our content because we want it to be copyrighted. Like we want people to license it so that people can be paid. Um, and people don't just steal it because they think that they can. So they advocate for that. They work with the Copyright Alliance. That's the government agency on copyright. They follow on what's going on and they try to advocate also for copyright issues.
How did you, as an African American woman, become the vice president of this, this important organization?
That's so nice, but I've been a member for a long time at the DMLA, and to me, the work that they do is really important. So I feel like it's a natural progression that
Okay.
you get more involved, you try to be the voice, and they are also trying to have diverse voices. For DMLA, it's really important that the members are not just the big companies, for example, the Geddes, but that the smallest company could also have a voice. So Picha Stok is a member, obviously not as big as Getty, but we are there and we also bring our diverse opinions.
Okay. This is something which, I think is catching a lot of people off guard and a lot of different areas, a lot of different fields, professions, and careers. The industry is facing a big shift with AI and copyright. Can you talk about the work you're doing to protect creators' rights and promote ethical AI use?
So that's what we do at DMLA. We have a conference. The upcoming conference is in October 20th in Atlanta. This year it's going to be in Atlanta. And we will usually bring on speakers
Mhm.
to educate people on the state of copyright issues, the state of AI, especially. 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we started talking at some of our conferences about generative AI.
Okay.
And we saw that it was going to be something that's very important in our industry, and it is now. So a lot of the panels during the conference will be related to AI. Generative AI it's a discussion that's really, people can take it to heart because of the way things have been done, but there have been companies who have done ethical work. So they will pay for content, and then they will train their model. And that's what also we advocate at the MLA for. It's for companies to license, just like anybody else will license content, that AI company will just license their content to the photographers, to the content creators, to the writers or whatever. They could license it just like as anyone has always done. License, pay, and train, and do whatever you want with it. So that's where we would love to see most of these tech companies go and accept. But we'll see how things go with the government.
Can you explain to my listeners what generative AI is actually?
Generative AI is a model created by a company that has been trained on a multitude of content. So generative AI could be an image, but it could also be an other form. It could be an illustration. It could be a video, but it's something that was trained on millions of content to allow you to create something different,
Totally, yeah,
different based on prompt. And the process of prompting use words. So you will use words to create a prompt, and then the final content that you will receive, your final output will be based on something that has been trained on millions of images.
So it's unique. Whatever it creates, it's totally unique
I would
based on.
not go that far. That we
Not
don't
go
know.
that far. Okay.
I think that we don't know. That
Okay. Okay. But it's supposed to be different. It's not. It's not supposed to be an exact copy of anything else. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why you see so many of the legal
Hmm.
issues, because sometimes you recognize, like I've tested a few platforms where, especially in art, I would still see that the artist had written his name on the piece of art, but it's something different with just a piece where something is written. So you're like, oh, art here, that's off. And I feel like that's how people have found out that, wait, it's been trained on people's stuff.
Right. 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 You're also presenting at the Cannes Lions. What is Cannes Lions, and what key messages are you planning to share there about running a purpose-driven, sustainable business?
So Cannes Lion happened 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
It's the festival of creativity where ad agencies get recognized for their work. So there's a jury that will go over the best ads that we've seen on TV, and
Mm.
they will rank the agencies according to the best ads. And during Cannes Lions, there are tons of panels organized by different organizations. And I was invited by Salon Culture Conversation to talk about purpose beyond profit. So again, I feel like it's the thread of my life is how can you be in service pretty much, but still trying to make money. I guess my experience also in the nonprofit has been that to me, I understand that people, all they want is their dignity.
Mhm.
They'd rather work for money than receive free money.
Okay.
So if you can create economic opportunities and empower people through that, I feel like you're doing great because that's what they want. They want to work for their money and be able to make their own decision with their money. So creating a business like Picha to me was very important because I'm not dictating anyone what to do with their money. I'm trying to make sure that they get paid for their creativity. And that's why it's the purpose beyond profit. Yes.
Okay. Well, you're very inspiring. I'm quite sure when you started all of this, all those years ago when you first came here to the United States, you didn't see yourself being in the position that you are today. You built a community. What does that mean to you? And how do you nurture this ecosystem which you've developed?
And that's a great question. And actually, I've been thinking about it a lot more because, yeah, it's been a decade now, 10 years. So I've been thinking a lot more about like, what do we do for the community? So we did the Weaving Storybook. That's really like a community driven project. And we're going to try to do more. So maybe amplify meetups also to create a place where creatives can come meet with each other, learn from each other. I'm trying also to push on the other side. How can I amplify the community of users? So the people who buy images, how can Pisha best educate them also into the what to pick, how to select an image that's worth sharing, um, why how not to be afraid of putting black people in your ad. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out also a way to create a community of marketers that could learn from our community, and that
Mm.
also maybe bringing both together, like the
Right.
pictures and the creators,
Theaters.
that they can understand each other. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm thinking about, but
Okay.
community is key. And, it's a marketplace. Pisha is a marketplace. So we are going nowhere without the community.
That's right. Over nearly a decade of building Pizza, what would you say was one of your toughest challenges and how did you overcome it?
The toughest challenge has been
Mhm.
honestly AI.
Wow.
Yes, because, and I'll tell you why, because for several reasons. Once, because again, Pisha is built on human creativity.
Mhm.
So I understand that generative AI is powerful, could create like amazing output and all of that. But at the end, my worry is how can I make sure that my contributors still make money?
Exactly.
There was a danger of that. Like, where do we fit
Mhm.
when it comes to generative AI? So I don't have an answer yet, but I feel like to to us at Pisha, what is really important is the community of people, the meeting the people, the talking to the people, the voice of the people, and with or without generative AI. So understanding that generative AI is an add-on, and then even without it, we can create other spaces where the human creativity could still be recognized and appreciated.
I'm going to step in and speak something about AI here because I have a bachelor's degree in graphic design, and I'm also a musician. And here is my take on AI. AI is very good at producing something in a short period of time. It's very good at that. And don't get me wrong, at times it comes up with some things that are quite fascinating. But still, I think overall, the creative process of most artists, whether you're a photographer, musician, painter, sculptor, we still do better than AI does.
I agree 100%. I'm also a painter, by the way, and I agree. And especially with you with music, you will get it that AI works with words. There are some stuff that's in your head that you cannot put in words.
Correct.
It's impossible to put them in words, but you can see them in your head. You can feel them maybe with your fingers. Like,
Create them, you can create them, but you can't speak them. Yeah. Okay, can you talk about a moment of success that felt particularly meaningful to you?
a moment of success that felt meaningful to me.
A great accomplishment.
Yes, it was. Well, yeah, when you with of any business, it was the first time a corporation licensed image from us. I feel like that I was like, wow, 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 wow.
That's big. That's
Yes,
big.
that was big. And especially going through the loop of, you know, getting admitted as a vendor through the corporation. Well, like all these steps, like it's really tiring. They really test you.
Yeah.
And when the PO came and I was like, oh my God, it's real, it's real, it's real. I was like, I felt like it was worth it. All of the questions, because sometimes you have questions that you're like, oh, are they going to connect with what I'm trying to tell? So all of that was validated. Yeah. And it gives me more strength.
Do you feel like you have to empower and uplift other artists and photographers through your platform?
But that's 100% what we try to do
Okay.
is sometimes we see in them what they cannot see.
Mhm.
Oh my God, there's so many brilliant artists, creative, and sometimes they will just describe themselves like, oh, I just take some photos. I'm like, no, wow. Yeah, like a beautiful eye for stories.
They can't see their own level of creativity.
No,
They can't see it.
no, they can't see that. And that's why I feel like the book Weaving Stories is really important because a lot of the photographers, actually one of the photographer, she had only started sharing the year she received the grant.
Wow.
And the photos she created, the story, it's a story on motherhood. It's so beautiful and deep. Beautiful, really beautiful.
So wait a minute here. You mentioned something. Grant. You mean you offer grants to aspiring photographers to shoot stories?
Yeah.
Tell my listeners something about this.
Yeah. Every year we have a grant application. Actually, we just closed it.
Mhm.
So it's usually every year in April or May.
Okay.
And people just send an application with a story concept. We review, we interview, and some of them get it, some not.
Mhm.
And we give a grant to people so that they can continue to create stories.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, and that's very, very inspiring. Okay, so now we're going into this part of the show called Flip Mode, where you get to ask me 3 questions.
Yes. Okay. So, Carl, what made you want to start your podcast?
I just felt, and I've talked about this before, I wanted a platform where people from different cultures, different diaspora could come together and share their stories, share their struggles, share a little bit about their cultures so we could all learn more about one another and hopefully bring a better understanding and bring the world closer together.
And what about how do you see? I mean, you've impacted many lives because you've been able to share many stories. I'm sure that people were inspired by that. Do you think you're going to do it for a long term, for a long time, or you want to empathize in other ways?
I think I'm going to be doing this for a long time. The one thing that I don't think a lot of people see is besides the podcast show, I get contacted by people who just they don't want to be on the show, but they have a problem or they have something they want to talk about. And so there are many times, someone will act like they're contacting me because of the show, but they just want to talk. They need someone to unpack what's going on in their lives, what they're thinking about, what they feel like they should do. And it's funny because I'm the type of person I'm not a counselor and I don't try and be a counselor, but I do recognize the need of people having to need someone that they trust to just talk to. And so that's become, a big part of what I do. It's not just the podcast itself, but people just feeling, I guess, through watching my podcast, they feel like, boy, I have something on my heart, or boy, I have something I need to say, and I don't know who I can share it with. Let me contact him. And so, it's a part of, I think kind of like giving back to the universe in a sense. So I believe I'll be doing this for a while.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. And then finally, about music. So you mentioned that you're a musician as well.
Yeah, and I've gotten away from it. But I'm getting ready to relocate to Puerto Rico and relocate my podcast show, and my nonprofit will be working mostly out of Puerto Rico, and I'll be more isolated then, and that's when I'll get back to my musical roots and get my musical chops back. So,
Which instruments do you play?
uh, piano, piano, organ, and the new instrument I really want to focus on is the ukulele. So,
That's nice.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that soon, hopefully.
Yeah. So, where do you think visual storytelling is headed in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in the context of representation and diversity?
That's a great question. I think understanding what's going on is really important because our community needs to create with intention.
Hmm.
The intention of creating for pretty much like you create
Yeah.
something that the next generation will see, the
Mhm.
next generation will be inspired by, not just create to disappear. I see people, for example, they create stuff on TikTok and then or they go on TikTok live and they'll speak, they talk to you, but beautiful stuff, and then it disappear and it's not even recorded and that's it. I'm like, wow, so you've put so much time, intention into bringing something to the people,
And it's lost.
it's lost. So, given that a lot of people want to raise us, I think we just need to double down and continue to create even more.
And not only create, but capture what we create, even if it's live.
Yes.
Okay. What's next for Picha? Are there any upcoming projects or expansions we should look out for?
Well, we've done a lot this year. Just published the first book, which has been a lot. So our goal is to continue to promote the book. We are promoting it in each cities where we have a featured photographer. So in July, we will be in Salvador de Bahia in Brazil, because we have two photographers from Brazil. And then in October, we'll be in Nigeria, we will be in Ghana, we will be in South Africa. So this year is a lot,
Okay.
but it's great because these are great touch points also that we get to have with the community.
Okay. Lastly, what legacy do you hope to learn behind and through your work? Well, not learn. What legacy do you hope to leave behind through your work in visual storytelling and advocacy?
In the between of us, in the moment where we were like, okay, are we doing the book? Are we not doing the book? We're not really a publishing company. Like, do we really want to do that? One word that kept coming back was legacy. And especially, and we discussed it with as a team. Especially we were like, okay, let's say AI takes over and really that's not what we want to do, and that there's no point of us continuing the stock photo aspect of it.
Mhm.
We can continue and empower people through the grant and through weaving stories on its own.
Okay.
So that's the legacy part, that even
Okay.
the stock industry collapse,
Mhm.
there will still be a mission for Picha. There'll still be a
Right.
goal for Picha, and then
Okay.
the legacy, creativity, stories, our stories crafted in a
Okay.
beautiful book. Weaving Stories is volume 1, so we are
Mhm.
planning to have volume 2, hopefully 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, Josie Ann, give us your website for Picha. Tell my listeners how we can contact you. I want you to hold up your book again. I want you to tell us where we can order your book and tell us how we can support your organization. All this information is going to be on our promos. We send out 3 promos just prior to your show airing, and all this information, the links will also be on our show notes. But can you give us all that information right now while we're still on the show?
Of course. Thank you so much, Carl. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Picha Stok, Picha Stock.com, is a stock photo platform. So we license content. So if you buy an image, you get 50% that will go back to the creator of that image. So
Okay.
the website is Picha Stok. And then we launched Weaving Stories, our first book, with 10 photographers from the larger Afro diaspora. Weaving Stories is available on weavingstoriesbook.com. Um,
Mhm.
and we ship worldwide if needed. And the
Okay.
way people can help is, to, promote, talk about Picha, talk the work that we do, promote it, amplify, 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 amplify. It always helps. So I'm
Okay.
thankful, Carl, to be able to
Mhm.
share my story and my journey with you. Thank you so much.
Josie, and thank you for sharing your story, your purpose, and your vision with us today. What you're doing with Picha and beyond is just changing how we see African communities. It's actually really amazing to me and stunning. I had no idea there was like anything like this out there. I think it's going to inspire a lot of my listeners, and I think you're going to out there.
I hope so, because we accept all the photographers from Afrocentric communities. So you're in the US and you're African American, you're from the Afro diaspora in the US,
Mhm.
please reach out.
Mhm.
If you're in Europe and you're from the Afro diaspora in Europe, reach out. We
Mhm.
have photographers from Brazil, from even Colombia,
Mhm.
um, and Venezuela also. And obviously we have photographers from Africa. So yeah, really a big Afrocentric melting pot.
You're changing the global conversation about representation, equity, and creativity. To our listeners, if you want to explore more about Josie Ann's work and get involved, check out pichastock.com and follow her journey on social media. This has been another episode of the All About Us podcast. I'm your host, Carl Allen. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
It's all about us. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.